Hey there. Have you ever caught yourself staring out the window, daydreaming about a little getaway, but then thought, nah, traveling's too much hassle at my age? I get it, maybe the idea of rushing through airports or lugging a suitcase up a hill doesn't sound as fun as it used to. But what if I told you there's a way to travel that feels more like a gentle stroll than a marathon? A way that's made just for us folks over 60, where you can soak in new sights, sip a coffee in a cozy cafe, and still be back in your hotel room for a nap if you feel like it? That's what gentle travel itineraries are all about, trips designed with you in mind, so you can explore without wearing yourself out. Now, you might be wondering why bother traveling at all when you've got a comfy chair and a good book right at home. Fair question. But here's the thing, getting out there, even just a little, can light up your days in ways you might not expect. It's not about climbing mountains or checking off a bucket list, it's about feeling alive, seeing something new, and coming home with a story or two to tell. These gentle itineraries take the stress out of the equation, so you're not wrestling with a packed schedule or sore feet. Instead, you're enjoying a pace that fits you, with plenty of time to rest and savor the moment. In this video, we're going to walk through how these trips can bring a bit of joy and wonder back into your life, with ideas you can actually use. So, grab a cup of something warm, and let's chat about it. First off, let's talk about how these itineraries are built for comfort. The folks who put these together know we're not sprinting through life anymore, and that's a good thing. They pick destinations that are easy to get to, places where you're not climbing a million stairs or jostling through crowds. Think a quaint little town a short drive away, or maybe a train ride to a city with flat streets and lots of benches. The days are planned with you in mind, maybe a morning visit to a museum with a guide who's happy to go slow, followed by a long lunch where you can sit and watch the world go by. No rushing, no pressure, just a chance to take it all in at your own speed. Take my friend Ruth, for example. She's 68, and she used to love traveling with her husband, big trips, lots of walking. But after he passed and her knees started acting up, she figured those days were behind her. Then she heard about a gentle tour to a nearby coastal village, just a 2-hour drive, a small group, and a hotel right by the water. The itinerary was simple, a boat ride to see the shore, a seafood lunch, and an afternoon to poke around the shops or just sit with a view. She told me, I didn't think I could do it anymore, but it felt like the trip was waiting for me. I came home tired, but the good kind of tired. That's what these trips do, they meet you where you are and make it easy to say yes. And it's not just about the pace, it's about the little touches that make a difference. These itineraries often come with folks who get it, like guides who'll carry your bag or drivers who drop you off right at the door. Hotels are picked for comfort, think elevators, comfy beds, and maybe even a quiet spot for tea in the afternoon. If you're worried about getting worn out, they've got that covered too, there's always downtime built in. Maybe you skip the evening stroll and curl up with a book instead, or maybe you join the group for a glass of wine and a chat. It's your call, and that freedom makes it feel less like a chore and more like a treat. Now, let's shift a bit and talk about how these trips can bring you closer to people, whether it's friends, family, or even new faces you meet along the way. Traveling's always been about sharing moments, and gentle itineraries make that so easy. You might convince a pal to come along, or book a trip with your kids or grandkids that everyone can enjoy. My cousin Tom did that last year, he's 72, and he took his granddaughter on a short train trip to a historic town. The schedule was light, a carriage ride, a stop at a little bakery, and plenty of time to sit and talk. He said it wasn't just the sights that stuck with him, it was watching her eyes light up, and the quiet chats they had over hot chocolate. That's the kind of connection these trips can spark, without anyone feeling rushed or frazzled. And if you're on your own, don't worry, these groups are full of folks like you, looking for a bit of adventure without the chaos. You might strike up a conversation with someone over breakfast, or swap stories on a scenic drive. It's not about forcing friendships, it's about those natural little moments that happen when you're all in it together. You're not alone in a crowd, you're part of a small, friendly bunch, and that can feel pretty wonderful. So, we've covered how these itineraries keep things comfy and how they bring people into your orbit. But there's more to it. Let's talk about how they let you soak in the beauty of a place without missing a thing. You know, there's something so satisfying about how these gentle travel itineraries let you enjoy a trip without feeling like you're racing against the clock. We've talked about how they're designed for comfort and how they can bring you closer to the people around you, whether it's old friends or new ones you meet along the way. But let's dive into another piece of this puzzle, how these trips give you the chance to really take in the beauty of a place, to notice the little details you might miss if you were rushing around. It's not about cramming in every landmark or snapping 100 photos, it's about sitting still long enough to let the world sink in, to feel like you've truly been somewhere. Imagine this, you're on a gentle itinerary that takes you to a small countryside village. The day's plan is simple. A short ride in a comfy van to a spot with rolling hills, a picnic lunch with a view, and maybe a stroll if you're up for it. There's no hurry to move on to the next thing, no guide barking at you to keep up. Instead, you've got time to watch the way the light shifts over the fields, to listen to the birds chirping, or to just breathe in that fresh, earthy air. It's the kind of moment that sticks with you, not because it's loud or flashy, but because you had the space to enjoy it. These trips strip away the frenzy and leave you with the good stuff, the parts that make traveling worth it. I heard about a woman named Ellen, who's 66, and she tried one of these gentle trips to a lakeside town not far from where she lives. She'd always loved water but hadn't traveled much since her hips started giving her trouble. The itinerary was perfect, a boat ride that didn't require climbing in and out, a stop at a cafe by the shore, and a little time to wander or sit, whichever she felt like. She told me the highlight wasn't some big event, it was sitting on a bench, watching the ripples on the lake while the guide pointed out a pair of ducks paddling by. I felt like I was part of it, she said, not just passing through. That's what these itineraries do, they let you settle into a place, not just check it off a list. And it's not just nature that gets to shine, cities can feel just as special when you're not dashing from one museum to the next. Say you're on a trip to a historic town with cobblestone streets and old buildings. A gentle itinerary might mean a morning at one small gallery, with a guide who's happy to linger while you admire a painting, followed by a long lunch at a spot where you can watch folks go by. You're not trying to see it all, you're soaking in what's right in front of you. Maybe it's the way the sunlight hits an old brick wall, or the sound of a street musician playing something soft and familiar. These trips give you permission to slow down and notice, and that makes every second feel richer. Now, let's talk about how these itineraries keep your energy up, because that's a big part of why they work so well. We all know travel can be tiring, long days, unfamiliar beds, too much walking. But these plans are different, they're built to keep you feeling good, not worn out. The days are shorter, the distances are smaller, and there's always a break when you need it. Maybe you're visiting a garden, and instead of trekking across the whole thing, you're dropped off near a shady spot with a bench. Or maybe the group stops for tea in the afternoon, and you can sip and chat while your legs get a rest. It's travel that respects your limits, so you're not dragging yourself back to the hotel exhausted, you're coming back with a smile. My neighbor Jack, he's 70, and he swore off trips after a family vacation left him hobbling for days. But last spring, he gave a gentle itinerary a shot, a 3-day jaunt to a nearby wine country. The plan was light, a tasting at a vineyard with plenty of chairs, a drive through the hills, and evenings free to relax. He was nervous about keeping up, but he said it was the first trip in years where he didn't feel like he was pushing himself too hard. I actually enjoyed it, he laughed, and I didn't need a week to recover. That's the key, these trips are about enjoyment, not endurance. You get to see new places without paying for it later, and that makes all the difference. So, we've covered how these itineraries let you savor the sights and how they keep your energy in check. But there's another angle to this, how they can spark a little adventure without asking too much of you. Let's explore that next, because even a small dose of excitement can go a long way. You know, it's pretty wonderful how these gentle travel itineraries let you soak in a place and keep your energy steady without leaving you wiped out. We've talked about savoring the sights and feeling good while you're at it, but there's another layer to this that's just as exciting: how these trips can sprinkle a bit of adventure into your life without asking you to leap out of your comfort zone. I'm not talking about bungee jumping or hiking up a mountain, nothing that dramatic. No, this is about that quiet thrill of trying something new, stepping into a little unknown, and coming away with a story that makes you grin when you tell it. These itineraries make that kind of adventure feel doable, even delightful, and that's something special. Picture yourself on one of these trips. Maybe it's a short getaway to a town you've never visited, just an hour or two from home. The day's plan includes something simple but fresh, like tasting a local dish you've never tried before or riding a trolley through streets you've only seen in pictures. It's not a big deal in the grand scheme of things, but there's that little flutter in your chest when you take your first bite or hear the clatter of the trolley wheels. That's adventure, tailored just for you, small enough to feel safe, but big enough to wake up that part of you that loves a good surprise. These itineraries sneak those moments in, so you're not just sightseeing, you're living a little spark of something new. Take my friend Marge, for instance. She's 67 and always loved the idea of travel but thought her days of exploring were behind her after her back started acting up. Then she signed up for a gentle trip to a nearby river valley. The itinerary was easygoing: a short scenic drive, a stop at a historic mill, and a chance to dip her toes in the water if she felt like it. But the real kicker? They offered a quick paddleboat ride, just 20 minutes, with someone else steering. She hadn't been on a boat in years, and she almost said no, but she went for it. When she got back, she couldn't stop talking about how the breeze felt and how she laughed when the boat wobbled. "I felt like a kid again," she said, "and it wasn't even hard." That's what these trips can do. They hand you a taste of adventure that fits right into your day. And it's not just about the activities, it's the stories you pick up along the way. These itineraries often include guides or locals who love to chat, sharing tales about the places you're seeing. Maybe you're at a little market, and the vendor tells you how his family's been selling honey there for generations. Or you're on a quiet tour, and the driver points out a tree where folks used to tie love letters back in the day. Those snippets stick with you, turning a simple outing into something you'll talk about over coffee with friends. It's adventure in the gentlest sense, nothing strenuous, just a chance to feel curious and connected to somewhere new. Now, let's bring this all together, because these trips aren't just about the moments, they're about how they leave you feeling when you get home. You've seen a new place, tried a little something different, and rested when you needed to. You come back not with aching feet or a foggy head, but with a lightness, a sense that you've added something to your life. It's like you've brushed off a bit of dust and found that wanderlust you thought you'd left behind. And the best part? It's so easy to make it happen. There are companies out there that specialize in these gentle itineraries, short trips, small groups, everything planned so you don't have to worry. Or you can even craft your own with a friend. Just pick a spot, keep it simple, and build in plenty of downtime. I'd love to hear what you think. Have you been on a trip like this, or is there a place you'd love to visit if it felt this easy? Drop a comment below and share your thoughts. I'm all ears for your ideas. If this chat's got you dreaming about a little getaway, give the video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button so we can keep exploring ways to make life a bit more fun. Because here's the truth, you don't have to run around the world to find a piece of it that's yours. These gentle itineraries prove you can travel, enjoy, and come home feeling better than when you left. Here's to that, to seeing the world at your pace, and loving every minute of it.